Welcome to another dreadful side quest where we dive into some of the world's strangest and funniest topics and or stories. My name is Vlad and today we're going to be covering some of the most horrifying Tinder dates. Love is in the air. It is Valentine's Day tomorrow, so I thought it would be a silly, goofy idea to go over some of the worst Tinder dates that I was able to find on Reddit, because I'd like to hear some of these dates go wrong from the horse's mouth, so I put on my little safari hat and I scrounged every corner of the internet I could find trying to find some of the scariest or more disturbing dates gone wrong that I could find, and some of these are just like a little bit, they gave me chills. So if you're single, these might make you feel a little bit better about being single. Dating's hard though, like nobody tells you how much of a job it is, my God. Before my current partner came along, dating and finding your person, or whatever you want to call it, is just a task. It is just single-handedly one of the most difficult tasks. I got lucky, I'm very happy in my relationship. Unfortunately, I can't say that for these people who we're gonna talk about in these stories, but whatever. Let's get started. Now, this first story comes from Reddit user his/hers, and it is called The Stalker Who Knew Too Much. I'm excited to know what this guy knows. See if we can scrape up a little tea here. I matched with a guy who seemed normal at first. We chatted for a few days, but then he started sending me photos of places I'd mentioned in passing. Oh hell no. Right off the bat, oh hell no. Like my favorite coffee shop and the street I used to live on. It was all harmless at first, but then he told me he saw me leaving the gym. When I confronted him about it, he got defensive and claimed he wasn't following me. Okay, I'm gonna call it right now, this guy's a gym bro, you know? Gym dudes are some of the worst people out there. Not all of them, I'm not generalizing here, but some of them are just such assholes and creeps. Like, I used to go to the gym, clearly, and there would be these douchebags just littering the gym, being as loud as possible, as weird as possible. They were flirting with all the women in the gym practically, even like the old 90-year-old lady working out for some reason. And then he's like staring at these ladies' butts, like they're not even discreet about it. They're checking out these women. They're not being discreet about it. They're not even putting in the effort. There should be no effort put in the first place. You should not be checking out women unless it is your girlfriend and she says okay. So let that be a life lesson to you. He claimed he wasn't following me. He had just remembered where I said I was going. I blocked him immediately, but the next day he showed up at my apartment building. I had to call the police, and they found out he had been tracking me for weeks through social media. He was arrested for stalking and harassment. Yes. Yes. Hell no, that's scary. You know, I'm into the paranormal, monsters, little ghosts and ghouls here and there. Love that stuff, love that shit. It took me a while, like an unbelievable amount of time to realize this, but honestly, yeah, humans are way scarier than any ghosts or ghouls out there. It's terrifying what people can do. Like, I actually have a story of my own. Actually, not even of my own. This is my friend's story. I'm not gonna mention any names because she probably won't want me mentioning her name. But what happened is truly terrifying, like really fucking scary. So she was dating this guy, things ended, not on bad terms necessarily and all this stuff. My friend thought she was over this guy. She was over this guy, but he clearly was not over her. He clearly had like split personalities or something, because one second he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I love and care about you so much, I'd never do anything to hurt you. And then she'd get other emails or texts or whatever saying things like, I'm gonna break down your damn door and stuff like that. Like, I'm not joking when I say she straight up got an email from him saying, you think that door's gonna stop me from getting to you? It's really scary. Guys are crazy. Like, if you're female, you need to watch it out there because guys are fucking crazy. And then there's all these people on the internet saying, oh, I don't use dating apps. Dating apps are terrible. They're dangerous. Yeah, they're dangerous if you go to the person's house the first date. That's when they become dangerous. If you're dumb enough to go into the person's house the first date, you're just asking to get kidnapped, you know? Like, you need to meet up at a public space and these things won't happen. I'm done giving you guys advice. Let's continue with these stories. The next story is called The Date That Wouldn't Leave by Reddit user Hungry Winona. I met a guy who seemed charming. After a couple of dates, we decided to hang out at my place. He brought wine and we were having a good time. Some bomb is about to drop, like But very shortly, things got weird. As soon as I said I wanted to go to bed, he started panicking, begging me not to send him away. He said he had nowhere else to go and begged to stay on my couch. Okay, so you basically got freeloaded by a homeless guy who just wanted a place to crash. Nah, you know what? If a homeless person did that to me, I'd be like, you know what? You put in the time and effort. You tried to swoon me with a nice evening. You tried to bring that wine. Hell yeah, you can crash here. Okay, so he had nowhere else to go and begged me to stay on my couch. I didn't want to make him feel bad, so I agreed. But it was obvious he wasn't just a little drunk. He was trying to stay close and push boundaries. Nope. At 2 a.m. when I told him to leave for the third time, he started pacing around my living room, talking about how we were meant to be and he couldn't let me go. I had to call a friend over to help me get him out, and even then he left but kept texting me, saying how he would never let me get away. So you got all these different categories of psychopaths out there from when it comes to dating. You've got the guys who will single-handedly invite you over to their house, first date, no questions asked, and then probably murder you. There's the kind of guys who are like, no big deal, I'll pick you up in my car and we'll go somewhere nice and quiet. Again, you're probably just gonna get murdered in that situation. And then you got the guys who go through the whole process of meeting your family, dating you for a few years, and then murdering you just because they're psychopaths and they really put the time and effort into the job. What I'm saying is, you're never safe. Now this next Reddit story is called My Chilling Date. This one still makes my skin crawl. I matched with a guy who seemed cool. We had great conversations and he was funny. After a week of texting, we planned to meet up at a bar. When he showed up, he looked nothing like his photos. He was bigger, more intense, and his eyes were unsettling. Why are you still there? If your date doesn't look like their photo and you stay at that date, that's on you. Whatever's about to go wrong, that is on you because you didn't leave. Say it with me, if your date looks nothing like their photos, it's okay to leave. This video is just turning into me giving dating advice. I don't even know if you could call it advice. We chatted for a while, but then he started talking about how he couldn't trust people and how most people are fake. You know, he ain't wrong there. He ain't wrong there. I noticed he kept his jacket on even though it was hot in the bar. After a few drinks, he got up abruptly, excused himself, and went to the bathroom. When he came back, he had a hunting knife tucked in his waistband. What? Wait, where do you get a hunting knife from? That's not just something you can like pull out of your pocket. It's big, it's pretty big, I'm pretty sure. We got a little trickster up our sleeve. I was horrified and immediately stood up, saying I needed to leave. He didn't get violent, but the way he looked at me sent chills down my spine. I bolted, ran out of the bar, and texted my friends the whole time. I never met him again. Okay, there's different ways I can see this story I'm about to explain. Hear me out, just hear me out, give me a chance. Give me a chance, but I think this guy might have been just a normal dude. So everybody carries self-defense. I carry self-defense. I have like a taser, I have a knife somewhere of my own that I've lost. And sure, maybe a hunting knife is a weird thing to have as your self-defense weapon, but you know what? One man's trash is another man's treasure. So maybe that was just his self-defense that he took out of his pocket to readjust and thought it would be more comfortable to have it in his waistband. Obviously, by her story, there was no signs leading up to this guy being a crazy person. Like she said, they had good conversations and blah, 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 all this other stuff. So maybe he was just trying to readjust his knife into a position that would be more comfortable for him to have it on him. 2, I don't think this guy is crazy again because he took a whole hunting knife in his waistband. Ugh, I had to burp. Ugh. And just walked out into a bar in public. He probably wasn't gonna murder you in a bar in public. He was probably aware of what he was doing, hence why he felt no shame in walking out in public with a knife right next to him. So no signs of a crazy person. I think you just dipped on a possibly nice guy. Chances ruined. At least that's what I think. Next story's called The 3 a.m. Call That Wasn't From Him. I met this guy on Tinder and we hit it off really well. We talked for weeks before planning our first date. It was at a park and everything seemed fine. However, after the date, things took a turn. Around 3 a.m., I received a phone call. I picked it up and it was him, but he was whispering. It was muffled, but I could hear faint sounds like footsteps or something being dragged. Yeah, this guy be ordering hella DoorDash or he just murdered somebody. I asked if everything was okay and he said,
"Don't worry, I'm right outside your window."
My blood went cold. I immediately got up, checked, and saw nothing. But then he texted me.
"You're lucky I didn't see you."
The next day, he was relentless in his text, saying things like, "Next time you can't run away," and "I'm always watching." Yup, that's the end of the story. We'll never know if she's dead or not. Next story we have is the guy who was a family member. By Reddit user Casual Reland. I matched with a guy who said he was new to the area and wanted to meet new people. We decided to meet up at a cafe. This is kind of like a little sidetracking of my own, but I hate baristas. I forgot if I mentioned this in a video or not, but I used to be a barista and I hated myself while doing it. Yes, I hated myself. They're just so annoying. They're the most, how can I describe this without being a total asshole? They're all hippies. I have nothing against hippies, but I just have against what they say and do and bullshit. Because when I was working as a barista, it was always just,
"Oh my god, are you a Taurus? I'm a Taurus too. That's crazy. We're gonna get along so well. Oh, but if you were an Aries, oh, I don't know about that. I don't think I could be around you. I don't think we could date. Oh my gosh."
It was a lot of that kind of stuff. And it just drives me through the roof. It is crazy. It is so annoying. I don't give a shit about your little rocks, your little bracelets, your little friendship bracelets. None of that. I don't care. I do not care. I don't care about your little gemstones. I don't care about your little star signs. None of it does not interest me. Move along. Anyway, back to the thing we were reading. We decided to meet up at a cafe. He looked a little too excited to see me. He introduced me to his cousin halfway through the date, and his cousin seemed oddly familiar with me. Oh, uh-oh, do I smell incest? Yup, that's incest. It was a quiet bar, and when he walked in, I noticed something a bit off. He looked so familiar, but I couldn't place where I'd seen him before. We sat down and we started talking. I realized he kept referencing places I'd been. For example, he asked,
"How was the trip to Maine last year?"
"You said you had such a great time hiking." I didn't tell him anything about my trip to Maine. It was something very private. Only a few close friends knew about it. Ooh, spooky. Let's find out how this guy knows about this lady. I asked him how he knew about Maine. He gave me this vague answer about how he could just tell. At that moment, my stomach dropped. He was eerily familiar with things that only close friends or family would know. I excused myself to go to the bathroom and started scanning through my social media to see if maybe I had posted something about it. But then the strangest thing happened when I returned. He was sitting with a guy who looked exactly like me. Same hair color, same build, everything. This was a guy, my bad, I jumped to conclusions. I froze, and the new guy introduced himself as my brother. It hit me then. This wasn't a random Tinder match. This was a man I had briefly dated a year ago, and his brother was a guy I had been talking to. Oh, that's crazy. That is insane. He had created a fake profile to mess with me, pretending to be someone else. I ran out of the bar, but they followed me. I managed to get into a cab and blocked both of them, but the whole thing sent me into a panic. I reported them to the platform and they were banned, but it took months to stop feeling paranoid about running into them again. That is terrifying. If two people look alike and they're trying to screw with you like that, no. No, that's some creepy doppelganger shit right there or something, I don't know. I hate that. I hate that so much. If that happens, get the cops involved. Are people just scared of the police? Like, I get there's probably a bunch of corrupt cops out there, but at the same time, it's in these situations where people are like, oh no, I don't want to call the cops. I don't want to call the cops. It's just going to get them more angry. And it's like, well, then you're just stuck in this loop forever. Do something about it. Or shut up. Like with my friend that was being stalked by her ex, I kept telling her, call the cops, call the cops, call the cops. Like, do something. I believe she did talk to the cops once and they said to just try to get evidence on him or something, which she could have done, but she just didn't want to contact the cops or any of that stuff because she thought that it was just gonna make him more mad. She thought it was just gonna make him want to come murder her more. But it's like, at the same time, you gotta shoot your shot. Like, I know you're scared, but if you're that scared, you can ask a cop to stay on lookout for a few days around your place and your ex doesn't need to know, so when he comes over trying to beat your ass, you got a cop out there ready to just... You feel me? You get what I'm saying? Ooh, this next one sounds interesting. This is by Reddit user Am I Overreacting? The psychic who predicted my every move. This one still gives me chills. Uh-oh, somebody else got chills. I matched with a guy who was really into astrology and psychic readings. He asked me if I'd like a free reading, so I agreed, thinking it'd be fun. But then he started describing things about my life. Things he couldn't have possibly known. My recent breakup, my career struggles, even my family dynamics. I thought he had just been using some kind of trick, so I told him it was getting a little bit creepy. He just smiled and said, "You'll see what I mean in a few days." That was creepy. I'm never gonna do it again. I freak myself out sometimes. I do, I really do. Sure enough, a few days later, I started getting texts from him telling me what I was thinking in real time. Nah, I don't believe it. I don't believe a word out of this person's mouth. I blocked him immediately, but the texts kept coming for months. It turns out he had found a way into my social media accounts through a shared friend and had been tracking everything. Oh my god. These are terrible. See, dating is scary. Dating is scary. No. I went on a date with a guy who was friendly, but a little too persistent in wanting to meet up again. He started texting and calling me constantly, but I decided to meet him one more time. This time we went for a hike. As we walked, I felt like I was being watched. It turned out he had been bringing his friend all along, who was secretly watching us from a distance. That's weird. I don't like that. I started to feel more uncomfortable as the day went on, and I realized this friend had been following me the entire time. I left quickly, and when I tried to confront him, he just laughed it off, saying it was just for fun. I blocked him immediately. Nope, I don't love that, because you don't know what that friend was trying to do. But that's where I'm gonna wrap up the video, I think. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you take my advice. You know what, screw it, let's go over what we learned today. Never go to someone's house on a first date. Don't invite your friend on date and have them stalk your partner from a distance, cause what the fuck? And 3, people can be absolutely terrifying. Never underestimate anybody. Always keep your eyes on your back, because you never know what somebody's gonna pull out their sleeve. And also, wear a condom, champ. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.